I'm about to reach 200 hours in Dead by Daylight, which still makes me a baby. I only have a couple of hours left, so this was the perfect time to make this video. I am going to rank all killers going against them as Survivor in how difficult I think they are. This is in no way a tier list that is the absolute best of the game or the absolute worst. This is just my opinion on how difficult it is to go against certain killers in the game. So this tier list will be ranking all killers from a beginner's perspective. How difficult is it to go against them? But I will also give you some small basic advice in how to instantly be better when you are facing these killers. This is going to be a long video. The timestamps will be down in the description if you want to see a specific killer. Here we go. I'm just going to follow the killers as they come up, and the first one is Trapper. In my opinion, Trapper would be around a B tier killer when you are a beginner. Probably in a real list, he will be much lower because he only has traps, and other than that, he's just a simple M1 115 killer. But when you are a beginner, it is very difficult to pay attention to everything. So my tips for Trapper: watch the floor. There is really nothing else that you can do. Pay attention to where you are walking. Make sure that you learn some strong loops, because in loops, he doesn't really have anything. Unless he places a trap in the middle of the loop, there is really nothing else that he can do except for mind game you, which on our level, let's be honest, is not really a very big thing. So Trapper, B tier. Doctor can be very scary, but actually he really isn't. I would put Doctor just right beside Trapper in this case. Doctor can shock you. He has the ultra wide shock where he shocks everybody in his terror radius. The shocks, what they do is essentially you cannot use anything that is in front of you while you are in the animation of the shock. You cannot drop a pallet, you cannot vault. This makes his loops quite strong. His loop ability makes it becomes quite strong, but it really isn't. A Doctor that constantly shocks you slows himself down, allowing you to gain distance on them, and you can just very simply take that distance, W away, find your next loop, etc. What you don't want to do is commit to vaults, commit to pallet drops, etc., because he can shock you out of that. Pay attention to him. When he raises his hand, it means he is going to shock you. Walk away from the vault or the window that you were about to go through. Other than that, again, just find a strong loop, keep looping him, and you should be fine. Blight. In all other tier lists, Blight is going all the way on top. However, Blight is very difficult to use. So on our level, I would also put Blight on a B level. Why? Because he is quite easy to avoid. If you have a tile where there's a lot of debris around you, then it is quite easy to just go the other way when he is in power. When he is not in power, again, he is just very simply a 115 M1 killer, making him quite easy to loop. What you want to look out for is if he is rushing, just go somewhere behind something, let that rush finish, wait for him to start his next rush, and then just move to the other side of that rush. It is not as difficult as it seems, again, on our level. Next, we have Freddy. Freddy, I would put on C level. Everything looks very scary. It looks like you're under some constant pressure, but unfortunately, he's also quite difficult to utilize really well. So in the end, he is just a simple M1 killer. If you are in the dream state, wake up, find a box to snap yourself out of it, and just make sure that you have distance on him. Yes, he can make fake pallets, etc., but it's not really that scary. If you keep your loops simple with windows, long tiles, TNL walls, etc., you should be able to go against him quite well. Don't be afraid of the dream state too much. The Plague is, in my opinion, a very strong killer, but also a very weak killer. Do you want to have an easy game against the Plague? Don't cleanse. That is rule number 1 against the Plague. Whenever you touch a generator, whenever you vault a window, whenever you drop a pallet, you will again get infected. What you are doing by cleansing is giving her power. As long as the Plague doesn't have power, she is a very simple M1 killer. Yes, you are playing in the broken state. Yes, you are going to be injured the whole game. But as long as she doesn't have power, she's not scary at all. If you don't give the Plague power, she's maybe B or maybe C. You give her power, she becomes an S tier killer. I will put her in A because she's a little bit scary. The vomiting is a little bit gross, etc. Other than that, don't cleanse and you will be fine, I promise. Next is the pig. The pig, in my opinion, on our level is an A tier killer. She can start the game with everybody already wearing a reverse bear trap. If she does, that means you have to go all the way around the map and you have to find 4 boxes at maximum. If you get lucky, of course, you can do it in one to get that mask off of your face. What you have to know is when somebody gets masked, the next generator that pops will activate that mask and they will have a certain amount of time to get it off, or their head will pop, basically. So what you want to do is make sure that if somebody has a mask on their head, make sure that they get it off before you finish a generator. If you're in a team and you have communication, you can communicate when a generator is finishing, are they finding the box, etc. What I really don't like about the plague is that it takes me most of the times at least 3 or 4 boxes to find before I find the key. That makes it a very, very long game because you have to get it off. Otherwise, you're dead. You cannot escape the trial through the gates with a mask on your head, but you can escape through hatch. Also keep that in mind. Might save you one day. Her growl and her lunge is not that scary as well. You can hear when she's about to lunge at you. Just make sure you have some distance. Just make sure there are some curves that you can take to make sure that she cannot hit that lunge on you. Other than that, again, find a strong loop, windows, etc. They're always your friend. Next up is the nurse. This one will maybe shock you, but I'm going to put the nurse on C tier at beginner level. Again, this is all just my opinion, but I consider the nurse not so good on our level. I've tried playing the nurse. It is so difficult to blink well with her, to predict where people are going. There is so much going on in her gameplay. Yes, I understand that on the higher level, she is unbreakable, right? She is the best, but on our level, people just don't know yet how to blink well. And if they blink well, they need to do predictions as well. When she starts blinking, what I usually do is I just walk back into her. And once I hear the blink finished behind me, I just go to one or the other side. She has to find you. She has a very short amount of time to find where you are after the first blink. If you are not in the place she expects you to be, you will most likely escape. And keep in mind, she cannot loop you. She is slower than survivors, so you can always run away from her. Next up is the Huntress. The Huntress can be very scary. I'm going to put her on the A tier in this instance. She has the hatchets. She can snipe. If you go up against somebody who has some aim, you will get hatcheted. It's just that simple. Try to find high 50-50s, high loops with high walls, and just try to walk around them. She's quite slow, especially when she pulls up her hatchet to throw. She becomes a little bit slower. You can just walk around and just make sure that you don't get hit. Remember that the hitbox is behind you, so don't think that you can just at the last second go to your left side or your right side to avoid it. That's not going to happen. A very important tip against the Huntress is don't be too afraid to loop her, but also do not drop pallets unless you know you are going to stun her. If you do, she has a very easy hit on you, almost guaranteed. Most Huntresses will walk up to a pallet with their hatchets raised. If you see that, keep running. She cannot catch up with you. Next is the Spirit. I'm going to put the Spirit on our level at the S tier, which I think finally coincides with other killer tier lists. Why I put her on the S tier is because she is extremely fast when she is phasing. When she is not phasing, she's very easy to loop. She's only 110% of the speed of survivors, so she's not that fast. She's not that scary. But the thing is that you really need to pay attention to a lot of things. Where is she when she's phasing? Can I hear her something? Where is she going to end up? Very good tip against Spirit. As soon as you hear her phasing, you can do a couple of things. You can start walking to the left or to the right, walking, not running, or you can run back over your own scratch marks if you are able to remember where you were running exactly. This way you do not give her more information. The Spirit will see that the scratch marks stopped somewhere and now she has to guess, did they go left, right, or did they turn back? If you are injured, she can hear you, so this becomes a little bit harder. I would say if she's phasing on you while you are injured, run, and then once you hear her phasing, just walk back over your own scratch marks. Don't try to W away. As long as you keep Wing away, she can follow you and she can just hit you once she stops phasing. Next, we have Oni. Oni is also not as scary as he looks. He's so loud, he's so big, but he's not that scary. I would put Oni on a B tier. When Oni is in his demon rush, his ability to go to the left and the right to adjust his path is extremely difficult. It goes very, very slowly. So if he is running towards you, you can literally just sprint to a 90-degree angle on either side, and he will not be able to adjust to that. Do be careful for his attack, because it will insta-down you. I also noticed it has a little bit of an auto-aim to it as well, so that can be quite scary. He is not as scary as he looks. Make sure to spread out, make sure that he doesn't have multiple targets around him. So if he's chasing somebody, that he can adjust his demon rush to somebody else, and you should be pretty good to go. Other than that, he's quite easy to loop. There's nothing special to him outside of his powers. Make sure to not give him his power as much as you can. Heal up, stay healed up, to not give him more power than necessary. Next, we have Billy. On our level, again, I have not yet met a Billy that can really do a lot. I have not yet met a Billy who knows how to maneuver his power all too well. That is why I'm putting him on the C tier list for us beginners. When he is rushing to you, his ability to also adjust, much like Oni, his chainsaw is quite difficult to master. This will take a lot of time. So on our level, it isn't as scary as it looks. In loops, he's not that great. He's a standard M1 killer outside of his chainsaw attack, which actually makes it quite easy to keep him busy and not take, especially the second hit. I don't think I've ever been hit by Billy with his chainsaw attack, so I think that should be the way to go. Try not to W away from him when he is in power, because he will hit you. Other than that, pay attention, because he can be all over the map all of the time with his chainsaw. He can go from one side of the map to the other side of the map in a matter of seconds, so you will hear a lot of chainsawing, and you will hear a lot of terror radiuses as well. It's much like with Blight. If you see him coming, just find some cover behind something. You can literally loop him around a rock, see where he is going to end his chainsaw attack, and from then on you can W away. He has to reset, etc., and you can waste his time. Next up is Michael Myers. I'm going to put Michael Myers in the S tier. I play Michael. He is a lot of fun to play. The reason why I'm putting him in S tier is because, first of all, he is completely silent. What I noticed in my first 200 hours is that I pay mostly attention to the red stain. When Michael doesn't have a red stain, you don't know where he is. If you are looping him on a high wall, you don't know where he is. He can very easily mind game you. If there's a Michael using pursuer mode, sure, but then he is a little bit quicker. He vaults a little bit quicker. He breaks pallets a little bit quicker. So then he's still a little bit more scary than your standard M1 killer. I want to say don't give him stock, but that is not going to happen. You never know where he is. He can very easily get into that evil incarnation and down you in one hit. When he is an evil incarnation, pre-drop pallets, make sure that he doesn't have the angle on you, because the lunge is long and fast and very maneuverable, unlike with Billy, for example. So make sure that you have lower 50-50s, lower loops where you can actually see him when he is not in power, and when he is in power, make sure you do not give him access to you. Another very, very distinct point about Michael Myers, that his lunge starts off very maneuverable, but the last part goes into a straight line. So if you can be around a small bit of rock once he activates his power and goes after you, you should be able to avoid that last hit, because it will just go straight past you. The Wraith is another one of those killers that is super fun to play, and I'm going to put him in the A tier. Again, you have to pay attention to so many things. Are you on a generator? You have to pay attention to your skill checks. You have to pay attention to your HUD. Is somebody being chased? Or do I see his shimmer somewhere because he is cloaked? Once he gets out of cloak, he has a huge lunge and speed boost to attack you with, so you have to be careful about that. Make sure you're always close to a pallet, always close to a loop, always close to a door you can get through, to avoid getting that insta hit. And of course, if he's completely silent, the Wraith can turn off his bell completely, so if that happens, you have to pay extra attention. That is why he is so hard to play against, because we are still learning about surviving, we are still learning about strategies, we are still learning about teamwork. It becomes very difficult the more things you have to pay attention on. I'm sure in the future that will change for us and we will become better at it and it will become easier. But right now, this is what makes it super hard. For the Wraith, other than him being able to cloak, other than him able to have a boost after he uncloaks, he's not that scary. He's very easy to 50-50. Make sure to keep him busy as long as you can. Learn how to 50-50. Learn how to use windows, learn how to use pallets, etc. Stun him out of his power. His stun will be longer if you stun him while he is cloaked, and you should be perfectly fine. Next up is the Demogorgon. Again, not a killer that I find so scary to play against. On our level, I will put him on the C level. The reason why is because his attack is extremely straight. Once you see his mouth opening up, you can just simply hide behind a rock and he cannot touch you. He can shred through pallets, sure. He can traverse the map by placing down his tunnels. He can go through that tunnel, be on the other side immediately. But it's not that scary. If he is not lunging at you, he is just a simple M1 killer and very easy to loop. A very important tip against the Demogorgon is do not destroy his tunnels if it's in a place where there's nothing for you to do. If there are no generators to be done, if there's no hooks nearby, etc., just leave it there. If you destroy it, you give it back to him and he can now place it at a generator that hasn't been worked on or is being worked on, and you just give him more power that way. If it's at a generator that has to be done right now, absolutely destroy the tunnel first. Is the generator done? Just leave it and he will not have one of his tunnels to use further on. Now we go to the twins. Controversially, I'm going to put the twins on A tier. Very difficult to understand what they are doing exactly, what to do when. Again, it is a little bit of over information. Where's Victor? Where's Charlotte? What are they doing? What should I do when Victor is on my back? Who is in chase? Who is not in chase? When are they able to both be active on the map as well? Very, very difficult to find out what to do in what situation. What I do know is if Victor is after you, Charlotte cannot be used. The player becomes Victor, they have to actually chase you with Victor. Charlotte becomes stationary. So what I understand is take Victor as far away from Charlotte as you can so that you can take him on a loopy-loop outside of where everybody's working on generators, and it will all be wasting more of their time. If it's just Charlotte, Charlotte is not that scary. She can loop you as a normal M1 killer, unless she sends Victor at you. He is a little bit faster. He has the lunge attack. He can go on your back, etc. If he's on your back and Charlotte is on you, do not take him off. Leave him on your back as long as you are looping Charlotte. If you take him off during the chase, she will get him back and now she can send him back at you. So keep him on your back. If you manage to lose Charlotte, that is when you can take off Victor from your back, and now she gets him back and she will have to find somebody else. Or if she downs you, perfectly fine. Make sure that you have looped her and wasted a lot of her time so that gens can be done. Next up is the clown. The clown can speed himself up and slow you down pretty much at the same time. He is quite easy to loop though. I have not really on our level, again, I keep saying this, I have not yet run into a clown who is really able to utilize his powers in chase, in loop, the way that it's maybe supposed to be done. Everybody says you should pre-drop pallets against the clown. You should make sure that you are going away from the pink smoke as much as you can. Obviously you should, because he slows you down quite a lot. My advice actually is loop him like a normal M1 killer. If he throws down that pink smoke, find another loop, find your next loop, and you can just go there. If you feel more comfortable pre-dropping that pallet and finding a new tile, also perfectly fine. I have yet to come across a clown that is super scary. That is why I'm going to put him on C tier on our level. Next up is the Trickster. Trickster is so much fun to play if you are okay with losing the game. In my opinion, Trickster is an absolute D tier killer. Yes, he doesn't slow down when he throws his knives, but you have to understand he needs 16 hits to down you if you are in the healthy state. This means that it's going to take a lot of time. The trick against Trickster, no pun intended, is to find high 50-50s, high loops where he cannot see you. get out of his way, and there's really nothing he can do. Outside of that, he's just a very, very standard M1 killer. If he's out of knives, you will see that you can loop him forever. And if you have a high 50-50 or even just a tree, you can pretty much loop him around that tree without him ever hitting you. He's not as scary. I know he looks very scary. He really isn't. High loops, high 50-50s, and you are perfectly fine to go. Everybody else can sit on generators and you can loop him forever. Have yet to find a trickster that scared me. Now we go into something that might be super controversial, Bubba. Bubba is going right there. I put Bubba on S tier. I think Bubba on our level is way too overpowered. I have played Bubba as well. People are super scared of Bubba, and I think they should be. His chainsaw is overpowered. He can do it for so long. He gets so much speed from it. He can down you instantly. If you are unhooking and he is close to you, he can down both of you immediately again. Very, very scary to go against because of that. Honestly, he is getting easier to deal with for me, but right now I am still learning. Always get super anxious when I realize it's a Bubba because I know that I really have to lock in to be able to loop him, to be able to deal with his mind games. When do I, when don't I drop a pallet, etc. What I usually do against Bubba is make sure that there's a lot of things around me. Do not be out in the open with Bubba. Do not run to your teammates when you are with Bubba. He will down you both. Make sure to pre-drop the pallets earlier rather than going for the stun. If you don't stun him, you are basically just signing your death warrant. So pre-drop, let him break, W away, find somewhere with a lot of debris, cars, with a lot of things that you can hide behind when he is in power or that you can hug very, very tightly, and you should be good to go. Next up is Ghostface. I know I should be putting Ghostface right here, right? Follow the herd. Everybody says he's horrible, he's disgusting, etc. I'm not going to put him there. I'm not going to put him here. I'm not going to put him here. Here, I am putting him right there. Ghostface is completely silent. Ghostface can crouch. Ghostface can insta-down you if he is able to stalk you fully. I have played Ghostface. It's not as straightforward as with Michael. Michael Myers stalks you, gets power, has a limited time to use that power, and that's it. In Ghostface's, it's a little bit more complicated than that, I noticed. The problem with Ghostface is that you have to pay attention all the time. On loops, he can crouch. Now you can't see him. Very easy to mind game on our level. I am sure that on higher levels, yes, sure, he is D tier, he's the worst, etc. For me, in my current state of DBD play as a survivor, I find it super hard to loop him. I find it super hard to avoid him because there's so much that he can do to mind game you. Also, what I notice is looking at him doesn't really do anything for his stalk ability, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. All I know is when I do loop a Ghostface and he does leave me, I am very, very, very happy, but that doesn't happen too often yet. Maybe when I get better, I will realize it and I will adjust the tier list. I promise. For now, I'm keeping Ghostface on S tier. The Gunslinger. Gunslinger, again, so fun to play, not so fun to play against. It is a little bit difficult to avoid his harpoon. It is a little bit difficult because you have to mend yourself if he does hit you with the harpoon. Besides being injured, he has quite a long range on the harpoon as well. He can use nook and crannies to shoot you through and down you that way. He can pull you up to a window if you're in shock, for example, and hit you through the window. There's a lot going on with the Gunslinger's game, but I would put him on the A tier. If you are able to avoid his shots, you are pretty much good to go. He becomes a standard 115 killer and one that doesn't really have anything special to do, but if he is good with his gun, he becomes very, very scary to deal with. Make sure you do not run in straight lines. Make sure that you are looking at him to know when he is aiming. If he is aiming, find cover. Make sure that you are not running in a straight line and learn to zig and zag unpredictably to avoid his gunshots. That's exactly how you should play against the Gunslinger. Next is Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head is pretty much my main killer that I enjoy playing the most. He is extremely strong. I am going to put him on the S tier. We are still learning looping. We are still learning how to look behind us constantly. We are still learning how to go to the next loop. We are still learning to connect loops together, etc. All that is kind of null and void against Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head can hit you through the wall, especially if you have a Pyramid Head that is very good at predicting your movement. He can just wait for you to go to that place and pre-fire there and hit you through the wall. If he's not using the punishment, he's just a simple M1 killer, normal speed, nothing special about him, but being able to hit through walls is extremely strong. So how to counter him? Keep your movement unpredictable. Don't vault when he's right behind you because he will hit you through the wall. Mind game it, fake the vault, move left or right, let him use his power, and then just move on to the next tile. Also, pay attention. If it is a good Pyramid Head when you're running through a pallet, what I usually would do is I would stab my sword into the floor, make it look like I'm going to fire my punishment, and then I just run through and I hit. It is always a 50-50 of should I drop, should I not drop. I would recommend to drop less often than you would think, especially on our level. That mind gaming is not very easy to do. If you see barbed wire, crouch through it, and then you can continue running. If you walk or if you run, you will get tormented, giving him even more power than he already has. Definitely an S tier killer on our level because we have to pay attention to, again, way too many things. Standard looping does not work on Pyramid Head. Now we go to Nemesis. In my opinion, Nemesis is a B tier killer on our level. My highest kill rate playing killer is Nemesis, almost 80%, and I could not explain to you why. Nemesis is not that scary. His whip is duckable. You cannot really, like Pyramid Head, hit through everything, or like with Huntress, just throw over things. If you are on a little bit of a high 50-50 even and he throws out his whip, you can just duck. It will not hit you. You have to be careful, of course. If you are dropping a pallet, if you are vaulting, you become an easy target. But then again, he needs 3 hits to down you. The first hit will infect you, the second hit will injure you, and then the third hit will down you. If you only get infected and injured, and if you manage to take off the infection, you are again becoming a 2-hit with the whip. Other than that, he's an M1 killer. What I would say, especially if there are Nemesis killers watching, use your M1 way more than you use your whip. Whip is very situational. Other than that, he's not that scary. The zombies are not that scary. You can flashlight the zombies. You can just run away from them. They're not that fast. There's only 2 of them on the entire map. And yes, he can reset them, but they RNG spawn wherever they feel like, so it is really not that scary. Make sure that you also learn to dodge left and right. Nemesis can do a little bit of a drag with his whip. Also, a very good thing is to give him a little kiss. If he's going to use his whip, just run towards him and he won't be able to hit you if you are close enough to him, and then you can just run away. Not a really scary killer in my opinion. Very fun to play, very challenging to play, but not a very scary killer to go against. Now we move on to Pinhead or Cenobite. I only had 2 games so far against Cenobite, and they were both quite scary. I still don't really know what to do with the box. I still don't really know how to best handle him, but I am going to put him on A tier because of that. Too few people play him. That is why I haven't really looked into how to counter him, and I still don't really know. The games that I did play, I found the box. He teleported right to me, so I have no idea what to do when you do find the box. I don't know what happens when he finds the box and he activates it. I know that it's all very scary to play against. Once I have more information and have played him more often, if he starts getting more popular again, I will definitely look into him and I will probably adjust this rating. For now, he's very difficult to deal with for me, and I don't really have any advice other than teammates can break the chains, trees can break the chains, anything that you can put in between yourself and the chain will break them, and then you can run away again. Moving on to the artist. The artist, in my opinion, is one of those killers that maybe belongs here or here, but on our level, I'm going to put her right next to Nemi right there. I think that she's very difficult to play well. I have seen her being played in competition, and it looks extremely scary and oppressive to play against her. But on our level, it doesn't really happen. The artist places the bird on a pallet that you are running, simply just run away. Find a new tile. If she doesn't use her birds, she's just a standard M1 killer, not that scary at all. If you have the birds on you, you can repel them in chase. They do not hurt you. Just watch out that she doesn't send another flock of birds to you. It will injure you. Other than that, it's really not that scary. Just loop her normally. If you see a bird, I believe you can run through it. You can flashlight the birds as well. It's maybe not the best use of your time, but it is possible. Other than that, it's really not that scary on our level. Just keep working on generators. If you hear birds, I would always just walk away from the generator because she can send them from the other side of the map to generators to see if somebody's working on them. If you get hit the first time, just repel them and just go back to your generator or jump into a locker to get rid of them. The artist, not as scary as she looks on our level. Now here is Onryo or Sadako. I believe that she is quite good, and I'm not really sure if I should put her on a B tier or an A tier. Her map pressure is quite good. She can be very, very quiet. She can be very, very undetectable. When she manifests, she is all over the place. You don't really know where she goes. I believe that on our level, she is very, very easy to use. And that is why I'm going to put her on an A tier. I'm sure that once we get better and understand her better, she becomes easier to play against. But it's quite scary to face an Onryo that is materializing, dematerializing, using the TVs, teleporting everywhere, etc. She's quite strong in chase. Because of this, she gets a huge boost when she gets out of the TV. She's able to materialize, dematerialize. You don't know where she is anymore. She can pop up right behind you. After she materializes, she can instantly hit you. Quite scary to deal with, quite difficult for me to loop as well. The best way to counter her is if you are near a TV, turn it off so she cannot use it. It will turn back on after a little while. Get rid of the videotape, either drop it or put it in the TV that is highlighted, and just make sure that you take her on loops where you can easily go to a next loop if you're not sure where she is. Next up, we have the Dredge. The Dredge is not as scary as he looks, and he's one of the scariest looking killers in the game. I would put Dredge maybe on D or C. I am not 100% sure. Let me think here quickly. I would think I would put Dredge on C, mostly because the time changes, it goes dark, he becomes a little bit more stealthy, you don't really know where he is, but he's very easy to see in that mode as well. He's quite slow, he's quite easy to loop. Yes, he can leave the remnants and go back into them, but you don't have to stay on that loop. Make sure that if he does drop a remnant, which you can clearly see if you're looking behind you while he's chasing you, just go to the next loop. He will have to place another one. Him coming through the lockers is also not that scary. One big piece of advice that I always do is lock one of the lockers. Don't lock both of the lockers, because he will always be teleported to the locked locker, taking him more time to get out instead of instantly coming out, and then you can lock it again for a second time. If you lock them both, he will come through one, he can break the other, and now you cannot lock them anymore. Other than that, just learn to loop, learn to not be afraid of the remnant. If for any reason you see your teammate being looped somewhere and there is a remnant there, walk through it, it will immediately disperse, and he will have to place a new one. The Dredge, not as scary as he looks. Next up, we have Wesker. I think Wesker on our level is an absolute S tier killer. The dashes are very difficult to predict. He can play around with them quite a lot. There's a lot of things that he can do. Still, maybe on our level, he's not utilized as well as he can, which makes it even more scary for me because he's already quite scary. What I do know is if he goes into the bound, much like with Blight, much like with the pig, much like with Michael, make sure that there are curbs that you can go around, make sure that you can loop around a rock to make sure that he's ending his bound somewhere, and then you can W to the next tile. If you are running towards a window, almost all Weskers on our level will lunge to that window fake the window so he will go through, you can double back, and now you can get away from him. Maybe he's not as scary as I think he is. I have to figure out how to play quite well against him, but for now he is quite scary to go again. Next up is the Knight. The Knight is becoming a lot easier for me to play against. I now know which of his minions I can and which of his minions I can't loop. It is quite oppressive. He can send them very far away. He can break walls, pallets, even generators from a very long distance, and they just pop up right there where he sends them, which can be quite scary at times. You just have to pay attention because you can see where he is drawing that line for his minions to go to. I would say that I would put him on an A tier because it is still quite scary to technically be facing 4 killers at the same time, having to learn who does what. Window tech is very good. Touch a window and then run away. They will have to completely run to that window, touch it, and they have to reset to the path you are following. Look out for the banner. It will give you endurance and speed once it activates. It will immediately disperse the minion as well. If you are being sandwiched by 2 knights, make sure the actual knight hits you, not the minion. Otherwise, he can get an insta down. If the knight hits you first, the minion will disperse immediately and you will just take 1 hit. The knight is quite scary to go against, but you have to pay attention. Where is he sending what? What is going on? If he is not sending a knight after you, he's quite easy to loop. Very standard M1 killer he becomes. Make sure you have a lot of windows to go through. Make sure that you have a good loop where you can maybe mind game him a little bit, but do not be too scared and pay attention to what he's doing when. The Hag is another one of those killers that is probably going right here. I would say I don't think that she's all too scary. Her traps are quite easily visible. I think her traps are easier to spot than Trapper's traps. I would say that it is not that difficult to do. If you see somebody in chase and there is a trap in front of you, activate it, it goes away. Yes, she can place a new one, but at least it's not there anymore. If she's not in chase, try to avoid the trap unless you really want to take her away from your teammates, unless there's a gen being done on the other side and you want her there, sure, activate the trap. Other than that, she really is not that scary. She doesn't have anything besides her traps and being a standard M1 killer. If you learn some loops, how to use windows, how to use 50/50s, you can keep her there for a very long time. Your team can do generators and you can all exit. Not very impressed playing against the Hack. Now we have the Skull Merchant. I only had 1 game against the Skull Merchant and we 4E'd within 4 minutes, so I'm going to put her on D. Other than that, I cannot give you any information. I don't know. She apparently is very bad. Nobody is playing her, and I have no idea what to tell you. Singularity is another one of those I have never played against, so I am not even going to rank him. I'm just going to tell you that he's a B rank based on everything else that I've seen. Maybe an A rank right there, but I cannot help you with the Singularity, unfortunately. Next up, we have Legion. Legion is another one of those killers that looks very scary. He can vault pallets, he can do this, he can do that. He's really not that scary. I will be putting Legion on maybe the D tier list, together with our friends Trickster and Skull Merchant. If you are facing a Legion, you must spread out. Do not stick together. Do not go to each other for heals. Keep as much distance between you and your teammates as you can to deny him his power. When Legion goes into frenzy, yes, he runs very quickly. Yes, he can vault windows and pallets very quickly. However, he can only inflict deep wound on you. Even if you're injured already or fully healthy, it doesn't matter. If he hits you again, sure, you go down, but then he loses power, loses time, and he loses that pressure that he is trying to build. Understand that if he hits you in frenzy, he will get killer instinct on all your other teammates that are within his terror radius. That is why they run up to you and they run away immediately after hitting you to find other teammates. A Legion needs 4 hits on all teammates in order to get his 5th hit, which will insta-down you. Completely useless, right? Because he has to traverse the entire map to hit everybody once just to get 1 down on somebody who's already injured, already in deep wound state. It is very silly. kind of. So if you're facing a Legion, keep distance. Don't heal against the Legion. It is absolute waste of time unless you have one gen to go and everybody's already done, and sure, heal up. But you will be injured the whole time. Much like the plague, learn to play injured or broken. It is not as scary as it looks. Learn to loop. You do not lose speed. You do not lose the ability to vault. You are just injured and you can go down in one hit. It's not as scary as it looks. Out of Frenzy, he is very easy to loop. Standard M1 killer. Nothing special about him. Loop him. Make sure that he wastes as much time on you as he can. And there's really nothing that he can. Next up, Xenomorph, one of my mains as well. I will put Xenomorph on the B tier list. Xenomorph is also not as scary as he looks. His tail attack is, from all the whip attacks, for example, compared with Pyramid, compared with Nemesis, I believe it's the worst one. It's very short. There's not a lot of distance and speed to it. Out of all the attacks, it's pretty much the easiest to dodge. Again, don't drop pallets in his face. He will hit you. Don't vault windows when he's right behind you. He will hit you. It's not that scary. Yes, he can be a little bit silent after he gets out of the tunnels. If you hear that he is in a tunnel, don't walk, don't run. He can see your footsteps. Make sure that you do not give him information. If the killer player has very good aim, yes, it can be very scary to go against, but then again, there's nothing really special about them. Place turrets so you can burn him out of his power. He cannot use his tail for quite a while after that. Place them well. Don't place them next to a tunnel. Don't place them right on your generator you're working on. Try to place them where you will take him if he comes to you, on a loop, on a 50-50, etc. So he has to break it in order to chase you. Otherwise, he can just walk around. If you place it right next to a tunnel, it breaks immediately as soon as he gets out. Make sure that you learn how to place the turrets correctly. Not close to you, but not too far away either. Next is Chucky. Get ready for more controversy. Chucky is an S tier level killer on our level. I am slowly learning to see him when I'm in a loop with him. This is the biggest problem with Chucky. He is silent when he goes into hidey-ho mode, and he is so small that you pretty much never know where he is. If you're playing on a map that has a lot of grass, a lot of plants, a lot of whatever it is, corn, it is almost impossible to keep track of him. He is slowly losing rank in my opinion. I am slowly becoming able to know where he is. The mind games of most Chuckies are almost always the same because they know that you cannot see them, etc. It is becoming easier. His attack, however, is very difficult to control. If he goes into his attack, make sure, much like with Wesker, much like with Pyramid Head, to not go into a straight line, to not show him exactly where you're going, and he will miss most likely. Obviously, if he's right behind you, it becomes much easier. If you're in a dead zone, it becomes much easier. If you're in a hallway on Midwich, it becomes much easier. Make sure that there's always something around you that you can hide behind, that you can just walk around to make sure that he does not get that attack on you. For now, I'm still going to put him on S tier. Very, very difficult to keep track of where he is, even with his red stain on. Just very oppressive. The Unknown is also not as scary as he looks. I'm going to put him on a B tier. Yes, when he hits you, you can get hit again and then you can get injured. Much like with Nemesis, it takes 3 hits in that instance to down you. When he does put that halo on your head, you can look at him and in time it will go away. Now he has to do it all over again. Make sure to not walk into dead zones. Make sure to not be on very tight loops with him because he can bounce his projectiles. It's very easy for him to hit you when there's not a lot of distance between you two, when there's not a lot of high walls between you. So make sure that you are looping him somewhere where he doesn't really know where you are. No low 50-50s. If he does hit you the first time, I would just suggest to find the next loop, make sure that he doesn't hit you with the next shot, and then just go from there. When you see that he is busy with somebody and you see one of his husks, make sure to dispel it so he cannot use it to teleport. Make sure that you are not working on a generator where there is a husk. Always dispel it because he goes into it very, very quickly and you will be downed very, very quickly. Other than that, just a standard M1 killer. Next, we go to Vecna. Vecna's powers look very, very scary, but he really isn't that scary. Going to put him on an A tier. Maybe I should put him on S tier because there is a lot to learn with Vecna. What can he do with the pallets? When can he fly? How long does it take for him to get out of flight and then hit you? What to do with the skulls, etc., etc., etc. I don't really recommend greeding on pallets too much with Vecna. The reason being that you really do want distance between you and Vecna. You cannot 50-50 on an open pallet and just leave it open and just greed on it and wait to drop it in his face, because he can mind game you with his skulls. When he does send his skulls, you have to duck, you have to crouch, otherwise they will hit you and he will gain distance on you. This is why you need to make sure that there is distance between you two to duck and be able to run away immediately as they pass over your head. He has a lot of distance that he can cover with his flight mode. He can pick up the pallets, he can block the pallets from you for you from dropping them. Just go to the next loop. He will have to reset his powers. Yes, he can send the skulls. You can crouch them. If they hit you, perfectly fine. Run to the next one and keep him busy for as long as you can. I will put him on A tier simply because there's a lot to learn with him, but once you do know what he does, he's not that scary. He's definitely not an S tier killer. I would even, at this point, maybe even say he's a B tier, not really an A tier. But again, you know, there's a lot to keep in mind when fighting against Vecna, so I will keep him on an A tier. Next up is Dracula. My first main, I loved playing Dracula at the beginning. I do think that he is on our level a B or an A tier, more like a B tier, not really an A tier on our level. Using his pillars is quite difficult, takes a lot of time to activate it and then send them. They really go one by one, so you really have time, if you have distance on him, to run away. You can give him a little kiss as well when he's using the pillars. If he drops down, he needs a little bit of time before he can M1 you, so it is not as difficult to deal with as, for example, Pyramid Heads, which just instantly pops up, and if you are in its way, you cannot get away anymore. His wolf form is the mini version of Wesker's Bound. It is not as good as Wesker's. It can be good on a 50-50, for example, or on a loop where he knows where you're going to end up, but it's not really not as good as Wesker's Bound. His bat form is quite easy to deal with. He can only see scratch marks, so the thing is, if you see the bats, if you know they're there, walk, run back over your own scratch marks. He needs some time to get out of bat form. It's not like with Spirit that he can get out of bat form and instantly hit you. There is a little bit of a delay, so it is much less scary than with Spirit. Make sure that you are spread out. Make sure you do not unhook when Dracula is nearby, because he will hit you both. Super easy to do when you are unhooking. Make sure that you are safe for the unhook and that he's nowhere near. Other than that, just loop him like you would any other killer. There's nothing too scary about him. Next up is the Houndmaster. The Houndmaster is another one of those Vecna killers that I'm going to put up here with on the A tier, simply because there's a lot to learn about what she can do. She can speed herself up by sending the doggy. She can send the dog over a pallet. He can grab you there. There's so much that you need to learn in order to be able to go against her well. However, again, on our level, it is a problem for both sides not knowing exactly what she does, so that is why she's still going to be an A tier for me. I have not played her enough times to really try out the things that I have learned about her and about the dog to be able to say, okay, I know how to deal with it now. I know how to deal with it in theory, but I need to put it in practice. we do not get her too often in games, so that is why I still am going to keep her on A tier, because we just haven't had a lot of practice against her. What I do know is you have to listen to the whistles. Is it a very long whistle? That means that he's looking for people. She can then get a speed up from the, if she's following in his footsteps, she gets a nice line. If she follows that line, she speeds up by quite a lot, and she gets killer instinct for anybody that the dog sees. She can also send him with a short whistle to attack. If you're, for example, on a 50-50 and she takes out her whistle, you don't have to drop the pallet. Just wait for the dog to attack and then drop the pallet afterwards. You will stun him after he attacks you, not before. If you drop the pallet and the dog is not going yet, he will catch you and you have nothing to defend yourself with. If he catches you and then you drop the pallet, you will immediately stun him and you can run away. Other than that, a standard 115 M1 killer, nothing too serious about looping her so far, but just don't know enough about her yet to say that she's not scary to go against. Next up is the Ghoul. I am going to put the Ghoul right here, and I'm going to give him first place in absolutely oppressive nonsense gameplay. I absolutely hate the Ghoul. Auto aim, map traversal like crazy, breaking loops with his swings and his bounds and whatever you want to call them. Terrible to go against. It doesn't matter if you're on the other side of a wall. He can still auto aim you through the window and you still get injured and you have to mend, and there's way too much going on with the Ghoul. Don't really know how to counter him, to be honest with you. Not on my level. Maybe when I get better, I will be able to. For now, it is the most difficult killer for me to deal with. I have no idea what to do. Looping doesn't work. Hiding doesn't work. Being behind a wall doesn't work because sometimes his hitbox just hits you through the wall as well. In my opinion, an absolutely broken character. And for people to get such results on our level just means he's also super easy to play. I don't play the Ghoul. I refuse to play the Ghoul, even though I should play him to learn how to counter him. I just hate him so much. Absolutely disgusting. Let's stop talking about him. I don't want him mentioned at all anymore. Next up is Springtrap. Springtrap is quite easy to counter. There's not a lot to him. I'm going to put him on the C tier right there. He's very slow. When he pulls his hatchet out, it takes much longer for him to throw it than with Huntress. He only has one of them. If he does hit you and you leave it in your back, he cannot throw it until he takes it back. There's not really a lot that he can pressure you with. Yes, he has the doors, but you can pay attention to the door. If they start flickering, it means that he's going to come through. Yes, he gets a little bit of undetectability after he exits the door. He is very loud. You can hear him from far away, even if he's undetectable. His loops are not that scary. Again, don't try to drop pallets in his face. He will pull up and then he will hit you as you run away. Do not vault when he's right behind you. Fake it rather. Those kind of standard things as you would also with the Huntress, but it becomes much, much easier against Springtrap because everything takes longer for Springtrap to do than, for example, Huntress, who also can throw axes. Don't use doors. There's really no point in using doors unless you absolutely have to get to the other side of the map instantly. Don't use the doors. There is no reason to risk getting grabbed out of a door. Keep your loops and your 50-50s high. Make sure that whatever you are working on, you know where you are going to go just in case he comes out so that you can loop him right there. Not very scary. Although at the very, very beginning, he was very scary. Now he's not so scary anymore. Always happy to see that it's Bunny. Last one is Krasue. Krasue is much like the Ghoul, extremely oppressive on our level, and I'm going to put her in the second place of characters that I hate. She has so many forms. You never know what form she is going to be in, especially if you can't see her and you're chasing her. Is she in head form? Is she in human form? Etc., etc. The head form can crouch down and become Chucky. She has the unknown thing where she can infect you and then she can hurt you in the head form, which is way faster than her normal form. In normal form, obviously, she's just an M1 killer. Very oppressive, very difficult to deal with. Yes, she is loopable. She's maybe not as horrible as the Ghoul. Maybe I just haven't had enough experience against her, but it is very difficult to keep track of what form she's in. When can she hurt you? When can she not hurt you? She also can bounce her projectiles, which I think is very stupid. You have so many forms and now you can also bounce, whatever. But it is extremely difficult to play against because you have to pay attention to so many things. Make sure that you are in as closed loop with her as you can so she doesn't really have an opening to hit you through. That is be my best piece of advice against Krasue. If she's in her normal or human form, you can just loop her normally. There's nothing too scary about her then. But then when she does get into head form, you have to pay attention. Very oppressive, too much to learn for one killer to just go against them. But it is what it is. And that is our final killer, the Krasue. I hope that this helped in any way, that I gave a little bit of my insight as a baby DBD player and a baby survivor in how I deal with these killers, which I find the most scary to go against. Maybe it helped you realize that you maybe didn't know some things about the killers. Maybe it will help you to not be as scared of the killers anymore when you face them. Maybe I said things that are completely wrong. I'm just making this video out of my very limited experience within DBD, how I see things and how I am experiencing things and how I play against those things. If you have more insights from me on certain killers that I missed or completely got wrong, please do let me know in the comments. I'm just here to learn and hopefully to learn together to become better at this game. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see each other in the next one.